Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and collectors of all ages, and also NFL fans, welcome to my second video, and this is the NFL's Divisional Week Playoff scenario, how it's going, all that sort of jazz. I'm SingleIssue Steve, a passionate Bengals fan from Australia, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the divisional round and my predictions and some interesting stats and things. So I'm very mindful that the game against, or the first game up, Bills and Broncos, starts in half an hour. So I'm going to try and whiz through this as much as I can. So let's start with that game. So Bills and Broncos, 6th seed Bills versus 1st seed Broncos. So obviously the Broncos had a day off last week. Obviously finishing first, that's what happens. Same thing with Seattle, who is the next game after that when they play the Niners. So what have we got? We have got the amazing and magical Josh Allen. Everyone loves Josh Allen. We all know that. Well, unless you play against him. He's a very, very good player. And also, too, we've got one of the best defenses in the league led by Vance Joseph, who 100% will be a coaching candidate next year. Teams will be definitely looking in his direction. Before we go too far, let's say hello to a couple of our friends. So we got Matty. Morning, mate. Jump on if you want to, bud. You're always welcome to. And morning, James. Now, I know it's not really morning for you guys. It's probably afternoon or evening, but thanks for jumping on, guys. Nice to see you both. All right, so what have we got? We have got Bo Nix in his first playoff game. So I like this kid. I think this kid's got a lot of moxie. I like the way he plays. And he's also got a fantastic defensive coach in Sean Payton. Defensive coach. Fantastic coach in Sean Payton, who is an amazing QB whisperer, I guess you can say. I mean, the work that he did with guys like Drew Brees, for instance, over in, over in, where is it? New Orleans. New Orleans. Can I post the link? I'll try to post the link, Matty. Yeah, give me a sec, mate. Sorry, everyone. A little bit underprepared this morning. Should have this handy. But anyway, while I'm doing that, let's talk a little bit more about the game. So the Broncos D is amazing. So for those of you who don't know, they actually led the league in sacks last year with 68 and also QB hits. For Australian fans who don't know what a QB hit is, it's the amount of time the defensive player hit the QB during the year, and it was actually 164 times, which is the league leader, which is absolutely fantastic. So the question is, can Josh Allen do his magic again against this elite defense? I think he can. I think he can, and I think he'll be all right. Now, what we've got is, as well, the other thing too, is the Bills defense. So we know that Bo Nix is pretty solid. He's got some great receivers like Cortland Sutton. He's also got great tight ends and a really decent offensive line. Their running game's pretty good too, and don't let that overshadow what Bo Nix does, but their running game's pretty solid. And the Bills actually have possibly one of the worst ranked run defenses in the league. So we're talking last week, they allowed Jacksonville 6.7 yards per carry, which is just ridiculously high. It's almost a first down every time they carry the ball. So very, very interesting what will happen in that space. The other thing too, talking about receiving and good quality receivers and things too, Brandon Cooks actually had 7 catches for 159 yards in the last 2 games, which is very, very good. So he's obviously going to be a massive deep threat. My biggest thing is, can Bo Nix outgun Josh Allen? So he's obviously a really, really good young kid too. He also had, so I'm just checking my notes here, guys. That's why I keep looking down all the time. He's had the most passes of any NFL QB this season as well. So obviously Sean Payton and him work really well together and throwing the ball around a lot, which is really cool to see. But I think with this particular game, I think the strongest team is going to win. And I think something led by Josh Allen is going to be the winner. So unfortunately, I think the Broncos are going to be well rested up, but they're not going to get through today. I'm a bit torn with this one. I have a good friend of mine who passed away a few years ago. We're very, very close, and he's a massive Broncos fan. So I would love to see them win for him, but unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get up. So sorry, Craig. You're going to miss out this time, buddy. All right, give me 2 seconds. And Maddie, there is the link, mate. Let me share that with you right now. Oops. So I'm still getting used to this StreamYard thing. So that's the link. Maddie, jump on in, mate. Love to have you on board. Anything else I want to talk about with this game? Not really. As again, I'm just keeping in mind that the Bills-Broncos game actually kicks off in 25 minutes. So I'm trying to whiz through this one just a little bit today. So next game we have is later on today as well. And we have got, this is going to be an absolute cracker of a game. And what we've got here is, what we have here is my good friend Matt, an international NFL correspondent. How are you, mate?
What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing? We doing well?
Yeah, doing real well, man. What a week of games. What a week of games last week. I mean, it didn't turn out for my Eagles the way I wanted, but what a crazy week. Well, how about when we did our previews? First of all, we were 4-2, not to brag, but we were pretty good. And but not only that, but no, what a bunch of close games. Remember last week we had talked all week about how how these games were really tough to pick because they were really close. And sure enough, that's how almost all of them turned out, except for the last couple of minutes of that Steelers game, which I know you were probably heartbroken about.
Oh, shattered. No, and that's one of my concerns about the Texans this week, which we'll talk about when we get there. So I had a look at my predictions last week. So I got 3 out of 6. So not bad considering how close the games were. So I picked the Pats, the Bills, and the Rams all to win. I think the Rams was pretty much everyone was like, yeah, the Rams should beat Carolina. Bills-Jacksonville game was a cracker, and the Patriots-Chargers game was like a soccer match. It was just so low scoring.
The two that stood out to me, the Rams-Panthers game, the last little bit of that game, the last 2.5, 3 minutes, 2 huge plays. Now you would expect it from Matt Stafford because of the experience that he has. I don't know if a lot of people would have expected it from Bryce Young. And that pass he had over in the corner to Jalen Coker, right over his shoulder. What a beautiful, 90% of the time you're going to win that game with that kind of play at the end. But then with 38 seconds, Stafford hits that, first of all, beautiful pass, but even a better catch. And Colby Parkinson, he keeps his balance and gets into the end zone for the Rams. That was an outstanding finish to that game. So It was very, very entertaining game, mate, to watch. I'm glad I actually sat down and watched that whole thing. And, a lot of people have been throwing around that, Bryce Young is a bust. He's not doing that well. As we all see, people are really quick to jump on rookie QBs. And, QBs have only got 1 or 2 years experience and go, they're shit, they're no good, they're not going to last. But sometimes it's generally around that 3rd year where you really start to see him develop a bit more. And that's what Bryce Young's done this year. So I think the sky's the limit for the young bloke. I think he's going to be all right moving forward. Me too, and not just him. I think it was a coming of age game for a lot of guys on that team. Not just Young, but you have Chuba Hubbard. I know he didn't have a lot of rushing yards, but he had the two receiving touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. My bad. And then, but then Coker, not only Coker, but the rookie McMillan.
Oh, he's a gun.
I never heard of him. That was the first game I've seen him play, and wow, he was outstanding.
Yeah, and you love those when the QBs and the receivers just know each other.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Know how it works. And like Stephon Diggs and Drake May, which we'll talk about a little bit later, they just know how each other work. And same with, obviously I'm going to say it, but, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow as well.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Play college together and then, playing in the NFL together. Absolutely brilliant. Who's your pick for this one, mate? Who do you reckon? Because I think this is going to be a really, really good game.
Where were you at here? Were you at Bills Broncos still?
Bills Broncos still. Yeah.
Bills Broncos. Man, this has been in my mind. I've literally switched my thing back and forth all week. It's been 50-50-50. Because listen, overall, I think the best 2 teams left in the playoffs overall right now are the Rams and Bills. I really do. But there's something, I don't know why I have this feeling. So I might be, and listen, if the Bills win tonight or tomorrow, whenever I forget which day they play. Is that tonight? Tonight's game?
It's in half an hour.
Oh yeah, it's the first one. My bad. So, but that game, if no matter who wins, I won't be shocked because both of those teams are outstanding this year. If the Bills win, it's 100% going to be Josh Allen. 100% going to be Josh Allen. But the Broncos, I'm going to go with the Broncos. I'm going to go against my normal feel. Usually I go with my gut every time, and I'll think, okay, it's going to be Bills. But the more I looked into this matchup, and the more I was looking throughout the week, like you said, about the sacks, about the pressure rate, they're first in the league in hits, first in the league in sacks. I don't know. And then early in the season, when the Eagles played the Broncos, and seeing Bo Nix hooking up with Cortland Sutton and those things, I know you still got Josh Allen, James Cook on the other side, and all that with the offense. This is going to be like, I don't know. It could be a shootout, but the Broncos D is pretty nasty. So I don't know. This is going to be very, very tough. The Bills are 3-3, only against teams that are 500 plus. They're 6-3 on the road, which is very well, but they're only a 500 team against winning teams this year. Denver has a little bit more of an edge. They're 4-2. And by the way, Denver also 8-1 at home. So I know that the Bills are used to playing in cold weather, but I don't know. I'm going to say the Broncos for this one.
Yeah, look, this is my game of the round prediction. I think this is going to be the best game of the round. It's that Josh Allen factor that sits there for me, and I'm like, the guy just does magic, and he's just ridiculous what he can do. I think the Bills will get through, but I think it's going to be a really, really tight game, and I think that the Broncos D is going to hold him pretty well for a lot of the time, but I think he's just going to go do his Josh Allen thing and break out.
Just make that one play to win the game. I wouldn't be shocked, because that's usually what he does. It's not always pretty, but he always makes the play that they need. And it's crazy because this week, if he does it this week, I'll be even more impressed. Not only are they away in Denver, but he has the right finger that got banged up last week. He's got a knee issue. He's got a foot issue. Plus, they're missing safety Jordan Poyer on defense. That's a big safety to miss on that one. Denver is supposed to have all 53 guys back. Everybody's coming back off off injury report. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be, like I said, listen, this is even though my team's out, which obviously sucks, this is the time of year. This is what makes it so great when you have matchups like this where you're not sure who's gonna win. I mean, that's really, you can't ask for much more than that. So it's pretty cool.
That's it. As we talked about last week too, mate, it's been a bit of a change of the guard, hasn't it? When you look at some of the teams that are out, and we've got a lot of young blokes like your Bryce Youngers and your Drake Mays and your Bo Nixes. In the playoffs, it's actually really exciting for the league to see these young blokes and taking their team further. It's really good.
Yeah, I think so too, because a lot of times a lot of the young kids coming up, usually they'll run into like a buzzsaw like Tom Brady or somebody like Patrick Mahomes. They're usually running into guys like that. Some of these young guys that you just listed there, I mean, even when they're going head to head with these big guys, these guys that are established quarterbacks, they're able to beat these teams. So this is like I said, it's strange. It's strange to me, but it's a good strange in that anybody can win any of these games. You don't always have the advantage. Like this week, if you'd have told me at any point over the last 4 years that I'd be picking against Josh Allen and the Bills in this game, I would say, no way. There's no way I'm going against Josh Allen, because I still think Josh Allen's the best player in this game. But I just feel like, I don't know, I just have a weird feeling that the Broncos D might make a late play. But like I said, if Josh Allen makes that play, the only person that's in the playoffs right now that I could see making a play more than him in the final seconds would be maybe Caleb Williams, because that dude has been like comeback Caleb, I've been calling him, because he's like going crazy. But I'm sure we'll get to that in a minute here. So, but
yeah, we will, mate, definitely. All right, so what else have we got here, mate? So we've got another comment. Hey, mate, can't stick around, but jump on and say hi. Have a good stream. Hey, Vanders, thanks for jumping on, mate. And then Vanders is a Niners fan, so he's probably getting ready for the game we're just about to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is the Niners-Seahawks game. So this is sixth place 49ers versus first place Seahawks. Seahawks had the bye-off last week, and very similar to Denver, they have a really, really great quality defense. Now, last time they played the Niners, they kept them to 173 yards.
Yeah, that was that 13-3 win at the last game of the regular season. That was for first place. Yep.
Yeah. So really, really interesting as well. My gut says I think Seattle are going to win this one for a couple of reasons. One, Kittle's out. That's a massive blow.
Oh, that's huge. That is huge.
And look, doesn't matter who you follow, whatever, you don't like to see injuries to players, especially quality players like that guy. So I hope he has a speedy recovery and comes back.
That was terrible. That was terrible to see. Very few times in the history of me watching football for, 30 years or whatever, it's been 20 some years. Very few have you seen an injury that, like, seeing the actual tendon snap off. That was, tough to watch. If you watch the replay, when he goes to cut, when he plants the right foot and goes to push off of it, you see it looks like a rubber band snaps in the back of his calf.
Yeah, you can see
it's just terrible. I feel bad for the guy. Like I said, when you're going against the team, obviously you want to dominate him. But not only is he a good player, he seems like a good dude, and it's just a shame to see any injuries anywhere. So that's a shame.
Yeah, massive loss for them. Sorry, Vanders, I thought you were a Niners fan, mate. So apologies if I got that wrong, especially if that offends you. So, general consensus, and this is what a lot of the website and experts are saying, that they think that Seattle should win this one pretty comfortably. I don't know if it's going to be pretty comfortably. I mean, Brock Purdy has had a bit of a lull during the season, but has really sort of started to come on towards the end here. Look, the Niners have got a pretty solid running game. Their receiving core, although not massive names, is pretty solid as well. And the other thing that really concerns me is another brain fart from Sam Darnold. We all know he can do really good stuff, but all he has to do is just make a couple of bonehead mistakes, and it's going to cost his team the game.
Isn't it crazy? It reminds me a lot of the Ravens team from I don't know if it was 1999 or 2000 when they won with Trent Dilfer, because they had a good amazing defense, and then they had a decent offense around him, but it was the quarterback that you're just like, I don't know about him. But that's how I feel exactly about the situation, because as long as Sam Darnold doesn't do anything stupid to lose the game, Seattle should win this. And I'm not saying this in any kind of offensive way, but San Francisco is so beat up right now that I don't think this game will even be close. Like, out of all the games this weekend, I think this is the most. Now, listen, if the 49ers won this game, I would be shocked. All the time I've been saying it's so close. And so if they won this game, I would be shocked. Not only in Seattle 8-2, 6-2, sorry, at home this year. 6-2 against teams above 500 or above. So Seattle, anytime they've locked up with good teams, they have won a lot of those games this year. San Fran only 4-4. A couple of the keys I wrote down in my notes here from earlier this week was the Seattle defense. First in points against, and sixth in yards per game. Seattle's won 7 straight and 11 of 12 going back into the regular season. The last one again, against San Francisco to win the number 1 seed. Also, San Fran won 7 of 8. Their only loss coming to Seattle in that final game of the regular season. Seattle does get their left tackle back, by the way, and San Francisco's and he was out. Yeah, and San Fran's D line is god awful. They're 31st in the league in pressure rate and 32 in sacks. Yeah, and it's just a bad matchup for them there. Seattle's running backs. If there was a place I was going to look at this, it would be the running backs versus the middle of the defense on both sides. Seattle's running backs, more running in their situation with Waller and Sharp Garbonet. But if San Fran can hit McCaffrey across the middle against those guys, but I don't know, because I don't care how good McCaffrey is and how good Purdy is. If you can just focus in on one area of an offense, you might be able to take that away, especially what Seattle's a great defense, not even a great defense. And so I don't know, man, this looks on paper, which means nothing. You still got to play the game, but on paper, I would say Seattle by a lot in this one. Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be a massive blowout, but I think that Seattle will win this one comfortably. There's just too many positives for them. Just as long as Sam Darnold, I'm not going to say manages the game, but has a solid game. If he just has a solid game, I think they should be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. All right, mate. Next one: Texans, 5th place Texans versus 2nd place Patriots. Again, I don't know what it is with teams in the playoffs, but defenses are what everyone's talking about.
God. Yeah,
Broncos
no doubt.
D, Seattle's D, and now you've got 2 of the best defenses going up against each other, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry to cut you there. I said, did you see those games, the 2 games that these teams came out of, the Chargers, Patriots, and the Texans, Steelers? All through my notes, as I was watching the game, looking through highlights, I made a whole bunch of notes, which obviously we don't have time to go into all of them, but basically, to summarize, all defense. Like, it was all defense. It was insane. So, like, in the Chargers-Patriots game, just the defensive stats, not even clucking on anything else. New England had 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery. They held San Diego on 3rd down to 1 out of 10, and they forced 5 punts. And in the red zone, they held them to they were 0 for 2, the Chargers in the end zone, in the red zone rather. Then you got the Texans on the other side, which anybody that watched that game saw what the Texans did. It was unbelievable. 4 sacks, an interception, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. That game, that's one of the weirdest games I've ever seen as far as a playoff game goes. Texans 23 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I mean, that thing was close. That thing was a close game until like the last 13 minutes or 11 minutes of the game. It was so close. It was 10-6 or 7-6, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden you look up and it's 30-6. It was insane.
It was a bit of a snooze fest to start with, wasn't it? that last quarter, though, it just
holy moly,
pretty much. It was insane. The Texans just absolutely brilliant. So one thing that I'm concerned about, if you're a Patriots fan, Drake May's had a fantastic season, and that's why he's in the MVP conversations. But last week he looked a little bit out of sorts, and now he's going up against one of the strongest defenses in the league. How do you think it's going to
go? This is a tough one. Texans coming in, 10 straight wins. That's the most in the league. Hottest team in the league coming in right now. 10 straight wins. Patriots, they won 14 out of their last 15, so they're not doing bad. Like you said, you have 2 good defenses going on. The Pats offense, I would give, if I was going to call it a stalemate and I had to pick between CJ Stroud for the Texans or Drake May for the Patriots, I would give the edge to May. I really would. I know Stroud has more running ability, but May showed me some stuff last week. I mean, he had a chance, especially late in that game. He had a chance to just straight up panic, and he had pressure right in his face, right up the middle from San Diego, and he showed poise. He adjusted. He set his feet, got his eyes downfield, and found Hunter Henry for that touchdown. I mean, that's a huge play. That's the game winner in that game. So that's the difference in that game. So seeing that stuff, especially from a young guy early, is impressive. The Texans offense looks super sloppy. Now I know Pittsburgh has a good defense, but man, there was a series there where I'm pretty sure, if my memory is wrong, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure that Stroud fumbled twice on the same drive, and it like non-contact. He just dropped the ball. Yeah. So and that's not indicative of him. I know he's a good player, but I don't know. If I had to pick one, I'm going with May. You have a second. Here you go. Talk about changing of the guard. You have a third-year player with Stroud going against a second-year quarterback with May. So, like you said about the changing of the guard, here you go. You're looking right at it.
Exactly, mate. And I think, for me, Stroud concerns me for this game. He's not the QB he was, say, last year or the year before when he had that ripping season. It seems like he's regressed a little bit. Whereas Drake May is, as we've seen this year, he's just on the up and up, and he's going to be a star. And unfortunately, the Patriots have found another good one. So the rest of the league going, oh shit, not that again. The other thing too for Stroud this week is losing Nico Collins.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Good point.
Huge loss. That is a huge loss for him. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, or if it is a high-scoring game, I think it'll be the Patriots will score more. So I think they will win this one. I just don't trust Stroud at the moment.
That's what I have too. I have in my notes here. I have close game, edge to New England at home with May, and I think, like you said, one thing I saw of Stroud that I didn't really notice last year, although I didn't watch a lot of the Texans games, but the highlights I saw, he seems like he's not. He seems very nervous around pressure. Like the pressure is really starting to get to him. Like when he's under pressure, it looks like he's not keeping his eyes, like the exact opposite of what I said about May from last week. He's not keeping his eyes downfield, Stroud. Like when he's getting under pressure, he's just looking to like survive the pocket instead of looking downfield to see if he can find somebody. So, but like I said, once again,
really good way to describe it is that, he's trying to survive.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's lost a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's hard to, when you're having bullets thrown at you 100 miles per hour on every play, it's a little bit.
Yeah, exactly right. I think though, him getting through last week and being able to put up 23 points in that last quarter, I think that's going to give him a bit of a platform to potentially launch off. But I think Patriots at home with Drake May and a Vrabel-led defense, you can't look past them.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I have to add this before we move on to the next game. I have to add, because I know you being a Bengals fan, I have to just tell the truth. And I know my stepdad, he's in the hospital right now. I apologize to you if you're listening to this, but I got to tell the truth. The Steelers offensive line, when I was younger, I used to have this electric football game where if you plug it in, it vibrates and the little guys move around. It's a strategy game or whatever. the Steelers offense looked like every once in a while those plastic pieces on the bottom, if you adjusted them weird, they would just spin in circles instead of go forward. That's what the offensive line looked like. I cannot believe Aaron Rodgers survived that game because, I mean, holy cow. I know the Texans are a good defense, but that was one of the worst offensive line performances I've ever seen in my life. That was just terrible.
It wasn't very good, and I could probably name the worst one worse than that, and that was the Chargers' offensive line. Their center and their two guards were ranked in the near bottom of the league, like, you know, out of 41 guards or whatever it might be. You know, they were ranked like 39 and 38, and the center was ranked 38 out of all centers who have played X amount of games as well. I mean, no wonder bloody Justin Herbert was running for his life, poor bastard. He got obliterated last week. That's the need they have to address.
It was terrible, yeah. Especially with a young guy. You don't want anyone to get an injury, but he's still on the younger side. You know, you don't want to. You're mortgaging your future there every time you drop back.
Yeah. And knowing Harbaugh, they'll do something about that next year. So, Chargers fans, I wouldn't be too disappointed. I mean, obviously you're out of the playoffs, but you know what? I think your offensive line issues will get addressed pretty quickly next year. So be prepared for a couple of solid free agents to come in, I reckon. All right, mate, moving on to the last one, Rams-Bears. This is going to be absolute fun, this one. This could end up being almost a bit of a shootout. I mean,
shootout, again, no doubt.
Yeah, that change of the guard thing, you've got, as I say, with Matty Stafford, the professional, the guy who's been around for many years, who's done it, who's won Super Bowls, versus, you know, the new kid on the block who, and again, I'm being a Bengals fan and you know, seeing us finally have some success after many, many, many years. You know, I've been following this team for 35 years and going through a whole lost decade of 2 and 14 and 3 and 13 seasons. I love seeing teams that have been down for a long time come back up, and that's what the Bears have done. And the Bears are playing exciting football.
Yeah,
really, really exciting brand of football. You know, their two-headed running attack is absolutely fantastic. You know, their receivers are really stepping up now. You know, DJ Moore has been brilliant as well. You know,
that was a huge play down the stretch, by the way. That pump fake. Oh my goodness, dude! Caleb Williams hit him with that pump fake. It literally got him open with that pump fake. And after he pump faked, DJ Moore wide open just walks in for the touchdown. So that was insane.
Talking about that as well, mate. Sorry, my phone's beeping. Let me just turn it off. Which people just leave me alone. It's early in the morning. Sorry, everyone. Very unprofessional. Talking about play action and all that sort of stuff. This is a really interesting stat that I found, mate. Where are we? That the Rams D are really prone to biting on play action, and Chicago run play action 31% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm like, wow, that's really, really interesting.
This was Chicago, a close pick. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say Chicago are also missing their starting left tackle.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up. Yep.
And also TJ Edwards is a massive loss as well.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's the middle. He's the heartbeat of that defense in the middle. I mean, literally they've had a carousel of characters in the other linebacker spots this year because of injury. But TJ Edwards was the rock. And that defense, by the way, even with TJ Edwards, that defense is not that good. Like, I mean, you're taking the number one offense, you're taking the Rams 30+ points a game in 10 games this year versus what was a struggling Bears defense, which now you're talking about even more struggling, losing TJ Edwards. I mean, Chicago, the big thing for me with Chicago, like I said, they have 7 fourth quarter comebacks. All right. And I would usually say, now that's 8, by the way, that's 8 out of 12 of their wins came by 8 points or less. So they're great in those close games. Now, what I will say is the game they played last week was not close, and it was coming down to the wire, and they still made up the difference. The only difference I see this week, though, St. Louis, way better offense than Green Bay. So if you're, you know, if that 21-3 that they were down to Green Bay, for Green Bay's offense, they might have thought is insurmountable. Caleb Williams is great. Like, he's playing out of his mind this year. He has taken, you talk about taking a step forward, he has taken multiple steps forward this year. And then all the other guys around him, like you said, the two-headed monster at running back, Swift and Manangai, and those guys, like, all these guys are playing so well. Another thing to think about: LA traveling into a cold weather game shouldn't matter, but it's real. It's a real thing. You're still people at the end of the day. So I mean, I think the Rams have the better team, but I think Caleb Williams gives the Bears something that's definitely unique in that situation.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And the other concern that I have for Chicago is they've also lost one of their best starting corners too. He's gone for the season, and he obviously didn't play last week. So, yeah. You've got guys like Puka Nakua, who has just been, he's been sensational this year.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to be really, really hard to stop. I'm really torn on this one. I know who I want to win, but who I think is going to win are two different things. Look, I'm still really, really on the fence, though. I think the Rams will get up, but I want to see Chicago go further because I just think their football is exciting.
It's crazy. Just the same way. Just the same way I feel like the Bills and Broncos will be the game of today. I think tomorrow's game of the day will be the Rams Bears. It's just, I mean, like I said, I'm going to pick the Rams, but let me explain. Okay, if the Rams get up early enough and keep their foot on the pedal until there's all zeros on the clock, then the Bears win. Anything less than that, anything, even if it's 99% effort and not 100, the Bears will find a way to come back and get this. I'm picking the Rams, but it's going to be close. The reason I'm picking the Rams, stuff we already mentioned. Plus, I will say, when I looked at the rankings, which isn't everything, but when I looked at the rankings, like I said, Rams O first, Bears D 29th, Rams D. Now, when Bears are on offense, they're 6th, which is still really good. Rams D 17th. I don't know. I have more trust in the Rams defense, especially against that beat up offensive line for Chicago. When you have Fisk and Verse coming off the edge against, a backup left tackle, that's a scary situation. I will give Bears one more caveat though. Their kick returner, DuVernay, he's a very good returner. That return he had he had a really good couple returns last week, but he's been doing that for a while. And special teams is big. People don't talk about special teams, but look how many games they affected last week. Even Green Bay and the Bears game. If Green Bay makes that field goal before halftime, maybe it's a different game. You never know. If Green Bay was over, it's crazy.
And the Rams special teams have had a few issues over the last month and a little bit, with a few fumbles on returns and all that sort of stuff. So who knows what's going to happen there. Also, too, shout out to the Aussie punter from Chicago, Taylor, who's kicking this week. So hopefully we don't get to see him.
In that game, you might not get to see him. Those two offenses are just outstanding.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun watch, mate. That's for sure. There's our friend Javier. Hey, mate, how you going? Hopefully the Niners win today. What do we think? Well, we've had a chat about this one, mate. We think, unfortunately, that Seattle's going to be too strong for you guys. So you got a few injuries and missing Kittle and stuff. Is certainly not going to help you. So we think, Matty and I both had a chat. We reckon that Seattle's got this one.
Yeah, it should be. Javi, listen, brother, anything's possible in the NFL, so don't get down on your team. Anything could happen. And but yeah, Sam Darnold is the weak spot for Seattle. So if you guys can force him into turnovers, that's a whole different ballgame. So who knows? But I think just straight up because of basically the amount of injuries at this point for San Francisco, I would give Seattle the edge. But like I said, man, it's your team. Ride with them no matter what goes down. So
yep, 100%. Always ride with your team. All right, so that's our summary. So what have we gone with, mate? We've gone with who was your pick for Bills Broncos? Did you say Broncos?
Broncos. Yep.
Broncos. Beautiful. I'm going with Bills. We've both gone with the Seahawks. We've both gone with the Patriots.
Patriots. Yep.
And we've both gone with the Rams.
Rams. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. So it'll be interesting to see next week what the results are, mate. And I'll obviously have you back on. I'll send you the link earlier too, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, that's no problem. I just wasn't sure because I'm not savvy. Like I'm on YouTube a lot, but mostly just chats, comments, and stuff. But I don't do. I'm not on StreamYard. So unless you guys send me the link, I didn't know what to do. So I apologize. I should have gave you a heads up a little earlier than that, but I didn't know. So
that's right, mate. Just me being old and not knowing how to use technology. That's what it is. But, mate, thanks again for jumping on. I appreciate it. We'll let everyone go because the Broncos-Bills game...
it's on right now.
It just started. So if you're a Bills or Broncos fan, have a great game. I hope your team wins. We'll see you next week for the championship games.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Hey, Steve, thanks. Steve, thanks a lot. I want to tell you, I've messaged you a bunch of times, you and Bo and Sharif, about this, but thank you guys so much. It's rolling up on a year since my mom passed away, and I've had a really tough time. You guys have, just chatting with you guys, laughing with you guys, messing around, talking with you guys has meant so much to me, brother. So I just want to say thank you, and I love you guys.
I love you too, man. And it's an absolute pleasure. We love having you as part of the Aussieverse family. It's your insight, your sharing, your humor, all that sort of stuff, mate. It's fantastic. So if we've given you a little bit of happiness, then we've done our job. So thanks again, mate.
Thank you. Take care, brother. Thank you.
Enjoy playoff weekend. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you next week. As we said, hopefully your team wins. If not, enjoy the playoffs anyway. It's going to be fun. Good to have you here, Matt. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Brother. All right, boys and girls and whoever's watching. Go and enjoy
Aussieverse for life.
That's it for life. See you next week.
See you later.